All right, we're getting ready to start our 27-piece sewing class. This is a 27-piece. I'm going to teach you today how to sew in a 27-piece weave. So we already parted her off. I'm getting ready to start her braids right in here, and we're going to go around the side because you have to braid it up when you're doing a 27-piece. Okay. Especially when you're doing a sew-in, a lot of people are getting away from the 27 pieces that are glued because it brings out their hair around the edges and around the edges in the back. So this will be a great class for you to be able to learn how to do. So I'm going to let you watch me do the braiding process so you'll know how you're going to have to braid this hair and how you're going to have to place everything. Okay, so we're getting ready to start that. All right. Okay, so we're going to take our time. Now remember, when you braid, when you're doing a sew-in, you don't have to braid tight. If you braid too tight, then you'll pull their hair out. Now, I'm going to ask her, how does that feel? Are those braids tight?
That's fine.
Amen. Okay, so now you guys see, it's just a little tension, but you don't have to squeeze tight and just squeeze tight and make that and pull all their hair out. So take your time and make sure that you ask your client whether or not you're braiding too tight, because sometimes you may not know. Sometimes you may not know how tight you are braiding unless you talk to your client. Okay, so as we're moving on around, and you'll be able to kind of see just how. Now you want to make sure that you bring everything kind of far down. Now we're down at the bottom of the head going around the nape area. You want to make sure that you get that as close, that braid as close to the edge as you can to pick up as much hair on the edge. And remember, if you can see her skin is not turning red, I am not braiding this hair tight. Okay, you'll be able to see the rest of the process of why you don't have to braid the hair so tight once. That's somebody calling me, but I'm not going to answer that phone. All right, since we're in the middle of our class. Want to make sure that you get that hair down as low as you can around that nape area. And on this one right here, for this 27 piece sew-in weave, we're going to just braid her around in a full circle. Okay, so by the time you get to the second video will be able to show you, the second video on the page is going to show you how to do the placement for the sew-in 27 piece weave. Okay, but I wanted you to see just the braiding process of how you're going to have to braid it. Now when you come around these edges around here, make sure that you're not braiding that hair tight. You're not in the business of pulling their hair out and making them bald headed around the edges. So you want to make sure that you kind of take your time. Okay, all right, she said that I was getting a little tight coming around this area right here. You always want to keep that rapport open with your client, because sometimes as we're moving as stylists and we're working, sometimes we just don't know how tight that can be. It shouldn't be so tight to where your client has to take a peel, take a peel after you get through sewing it in. That doesn't sound right though. Matter of fact, that sounds almost demonic, to have to take a peel to deal with the pain. That's ridiculous. So please make a note and make sure that when you're braiding your client, that you talk to them. Now, how does that feel, ma'am? Does that feel okay?
That feels okay.
Amen. Okay, so you can see that we're not going to braid tight. Make sure that you keep that rapport open with your client so they won't feel like they can't tell you that it's tight. You got a lot of stylists, so they don't want anyone to tell them anything. But if you really want to do well at these, for the sew-in 27 piece, I normally charge about $350 for the sew-in 27 piece weave. They take a little time, but they can come in and they can get their hair washed. They can still do all those things with that 27 piece. You know, that's why it's really good to make sure that you keep that rapport open with your client. And I know I keep saying that, but I say that because you have a lot of stylists out there that will not keep that rapport open, and they're going to continue to braid tight. And we're just going to take little sections. You're going to do we're doing this 27-piece sew-in weave, but I want to make sure that you understand that you cannot braid these braids too big. If you braid them too big, you won't be able to get a nice, even, flat flow. One thing people can't stand is when you're doing uh, a 27 piece and it's bulky at the top, and it got that hump at the top and all that stuff like that. So you really want to make sure that you take your time. Now, once we get this head braided up, you're going to be able to see how awesome the process is for setting it up for the 27-piece sew-in. And I know you're wondering, just kind of watching the video, you're probably wondering, how is he gonna, sew that 27-piece in? Well, God has blessed you today. I really appreciate you taking the class. This is going to increase your business, just knowing how to do this, because so many people around the country are getting away from the glue. And hairstylists around the country, when I worked for CBS News in Manhattan, New York, I've done a lot of things. I've traveled and worked with Lisa Ray, a lot.